I thought Graham Potter's men were superbly organised. They knew exactly what they were doing, and to go to Old Trafford on the opening day to put a performance in like that, I think that may get a little bit lost in the disappointment that we have at Manchester United. But in saying all that, they've got to pick themselves up. I think one of the problems, and we saw it in a sort of minuscule way yesterday, was when things started going against them, it's like they dropped their bundle. Now, they've lost their opening game at home as well. They've got Brentford next week away. It's a game that they should win. It will not be easy because all these lesser fancy teams are really up for it at the beginning of the season, and they haven't had really any opportunity to sort of to be scarred by anything. And they had a great result against Leicester yesterday, coming back from 2-0 down. So they've got to pick themselves up, put that behind them, and move on. And I think that's going to be a real key because, like I said, they have got this habit, unfortunately, when things start going wrong, that they basically drop their bundle.
Well, Mark, Gary Neville was quite keen not to criticise Ten Hag yesterday. Can you understand what he was thinking, though, playing particularly Christian Eriksen in that false nine position, the way they sort of set up for this game?
Yeah, completely understandable. And obviously that's why they're in the market for a striker, was they need cover. As soon as Anthony Martial went down, and Cristiano Ronaldo is, by all accounts, not ready to start. He missed a good chunk of the pre-season tour, as we know. It was inevitable that somebody would have to cover. Now, we know they got Garnacho, the young boy, but obviously Ten Hag wanted to go with Christian Eriksen into the false nine. I can understand completely because with Brighton playing their three at the back, he probably wanted somebody else to come into midfield. They have a complete overload in midfield, but it didn't work out that way. And I think a lot of credit for that must go to Graham Potter and the way that he set up his men and had them adapt to certain situations. But it is quite obvious, like I said, they do need cover up front. So, they've got to go and get somebody who's experienced enough, preferably somebody who's played in the Premier League, who knows what it's all about as well, before that transfer window closes on September 1st.
Well, that takes us on to the bid for Marko Arnautovic, doesn't it? That came as a big surprise last night. I mean, would he be the solution? I mean, he did mention Premier League experience, which he does have, but 33.
Yeah, 33, but he has got Premier League experience and he's an excellent player. He's obviously worked with Erik Ten Hag before at Twente and also Steve McLaren when they were there way back when. And look, right at this moment in time, the way that things are and with the transfer market, I don't really think at the beginning of the transfer window that they really identified a striker. I think they were pretty set with having the fact that they've got Anthony Martial and Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, the Cristiano Ronaldo situation has taken a twist. And now with the injury, it's very difficult with a month to go to line up somebody who, everyone would turn around and say, well, that's an absolutely massive signing, like a Darwin Núñez, so to speak. So they need to get cover in. So right at this moment in time, I don't really think there's many other options. There will be some other options, but he's definitely one of them. And I don't see no problem in making sure that the squad is covered because it's going to be a very long and arduous season. And to have somebody that's worked before and knows the system of play, which Erik Ten Hag wants to play, I think it would be a good signing.
Just on Cristiano Ronaldo, what do you think Ten Hag should do about him at this point?
My theory wasn't, even at the beginning when he couldn't make the trip to Australia, and then obviously we heard some noise about what happened last week in that friendly game, although it was very, very unclear. It came out afterwards that he wasn't the only player. But my theory that he was going to play an important part in this season, and whether that be as a starter, I believe that he should be a starter still. I think he, in terms of what he was brought in for last season, he actually did his job in a very poor season for Manchester United. It was not always easy to do. But I think that he should stick by him to make the case for him to stay. And I really think that Cristiano Ronaldo should stay as well. I really think he's got a massive part to play, not only on the park, but off the park as well, and to help propel Manchester United back to where they should be, which is in that top four.
What would you do about Frenkie de Jong? Because this has been going on for a long time now.
I wouldn't give up until September 1st. By all accounts, this is down to a financial factor in terms of what Barcelona owe him. So I would keep going. He's obviously, a very important target because it's been going on for so long. But if you come this far, I don't really see the reason in giving up right now. If the player, in terms of Frenkie de Jong, decides to go somewhere else, because he wants Champions League football, which is obviously, it's a big carrot. And we spoke about this last season, about one of the, the things that Manchester United will have to put up with is that a lot of players will be looking and thinking, I don't want to not be playing in the Champions League. That's a different story. But in terms of Manchester United, and what Erik ten Hag has recognised as a player that he wants, and I can understand where he's coming from, they should keep going until the end.
Switching gears a little bit, the blue side of Manchester are in a pretty good mood this morning. They eased a victory over West Ham. Erling Haaland, a great debut. He really does look like
It's the fact, and you saw here with the second goal, in terms of him getting in behind and scoring goals. Now with his pace, like I said, and the amount of chances that they create, it really is, for me, it's a match made in heaven. And they've got it all in front of them. They'll be judged ultimately where
Maybe she shouldn't.
Where are we?
We'll just get out of here, please.
Abby.
Right, those three charges, it relates to Ryan Giggs, who was arrested almost 2 years ago now in November, beginning of November in 2020. He's been charged with assault causing actual bodily harm against his former partner, Kate Greville, and also common assault against Miss Greville's sister, Emma. And the third charge is of coercive and controlling behaviour. Over a period between December 2017 to November 2020. Those are the three charges that Ryan Giggs faced accused of. As you mentioned there, he denies all those charges. What will happen today? This is the first day of a scheduled 2-week trial, so 10 days inside the court. It's been a protracted affair. If you do recall, the trial was meant to begin at the end of January this year, but it's been postponed by 7 months. The huge court backlog within the system caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. So just less than a week before it was due to start, the judge then, Judge Hilary Manley, she pushed it back until August because there was no court space. A little bit of a scare last week as well. We're not in the court where the majority of this hearing will take place. As you mentioned, we're in Minchell Street. It'll be held here today before moving back to the Crown Court at Crown Square buildings because they found asbestos in those buildings about 10 days ago. However, it does start here today. It's scheduled for 2 weeks, and Ryan Giggs denies all the charges against him.
Trafford yesterday. 33-year-old Arnautovic is currently at Bologna, and our colleagues at Sky in Italy say the club has rejected an offer of around £7.5 million from United. This is what Erik ten Hag had to say about links with Arnautovic in his post-match news conference.
I don't go into names because I think in this pre-season maybe 250 players are involved and linked on Man United. So that's it. And we have 2 strikers, maybe a third one with Rashford as well. Or we considered him as a striker, but he had a really good pre-season on the left side.
Forrest Gump. Watch Sky Atlantic.
On a Monday is 1 p.m. Every other weekday it's at midday. and join Dharmasheth and Kaveh Solakar on the transfer show from 5 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Champion of the world!
For Kulusevski's performance, I saw someone on Twitter
down against Southampton. Time for one more. Paul Holmes says, my highlight of the weekend was Liverpool only drawing against Fulham because I expected Liverpool to win. Fulham, of course, getting that 2-2 draw on the opening day. Keep them coming in. Hashtag GMSF.
Now to golf, and she may have shown plenty of final round jitters, but despite blowing a 5-shot lead overnight, Ashleigh Buhai produced a moment of outstanding quality when it really mattered to win her first major tournament.
She came through a 4-hole playoff against Inji Chun at Muirfield to become the first South African to win the title since 1979. Buhai could only cart a 4-over par 75 to finish in a tie with Chun on 10 under par. Hinako Shinuna ended the week 1 shot short on 9 under. While Buhai stumbled, Chun made the most of it with shots like this on the front 9. She did drop shots on the back 9, but 1 under, enough to tie the lead. This pretty much summed up Buhai's day